Hi there, and welcome home. Here on Home with the Harrisons, we make content based on our many hobbies. For me, that tends to be more cooking and lifestyle. For my husband so far, that's been gaming and philosophy, although he and I are going to be working on some Christmas music in this upcoming month, so be sure to look for that. It's impossible to list all of our hobbies right here, but if any of the things that I just mentioned sound interesting to you, you can go ahead and check some of our old videos out, like or subscribe if you want. We try to put out at least one video a week. Now today I'm going to be talking to you about what we like to do with our leftover turkey. We had a 13.5-pound turkey this year for 5 people. And while I did send a bunch of leftovers home with our one friend who's a member of our bubble who came and joined us for Thanksgiving, we have so much turkey left over. And personally, I don't really like roast turkey that much. Not to eat it for a whole week straight, which is what we'd have to do to eat these leftovers up. So today I want to run through 3 recipes that we like to make for meals to use up that leftover turkey. I'm going to start out with the very classic turkey noodle soup. This is sort of a tradition for us. The day after, or maybe 2 days after Thanksgiving, we always have turkey noodle soup. Then I'm going to move to another recipe that was born of desperation and my Midwest culture, Thanksgiving casserole. Finally, I'm going to run through a really easy way to use turkey in any recipe you'd usually use pre-cooked chicken in by using it in a curry. Super simple, uses a pre-made sauce and pre-cut frozen vegetables. If any of that sounds good, keep on watching because we're going to get cooking. Alright, so today I am making turkey noodle soup for dinner. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to saute my veggies. I've got 1 large onion diced and what looks to be like, I don't know, 3/4 of a cup of carrot diced. And they are going to be put into my pot. Carrot first. I'm going to start heating that pot too. And the onion. Now, if you like celery in your stuff, go ahead and put it in, maybe use a little less onion and put some celery in there too. I just don't like celery. And so I tend to double the onion instead. Now I am going to, excuse me, going to grab one of my wooden spoons. And the fat that I have in there to saute the onion and carrot is fat that I skimmed off of the turkey broth that I made. I find that it keeps the flavor sort of more cohesive than using something else to saute the veggies. But if you don't have that, that's fine. Like if you're using store-bought broth, totally fine. Just go ahead and use some vegetable oil that's not going to give you like a very strong flavor instead. And make sure that you add a little salt at this point. Not too much, because your broth, unless you use low sodium broth, your broth's probably going to be pretty salty. But just enough salt that it starts to draw out that moisture from the onions and the carrots, and that'll have them cook up a little bit faster. Alright, well, I am going to cook this, and I will see you when it has softened up a bit. Alright, so I have cooked these vegetables, the carrots and the onions down until the onions are translucent and the carrots are just starting to soften. At this point, I'm going to use the turkey meat that I got off of the bones when I was making the broth. And I'm just putting that in here. I like it in big chunks like that. It feels a little heartier in my soup when it's in big chunks. But if you like it in like finer pieces, go ahead and chop it up into smaller pieces. It's your soup. Make it the way you want it. Alright. And once those all are mixed together in a pot, that is when I'm going to add my broth. Now, like I said, I made my own broth, and I did it by putting the carcass of the turkey in my crock pot with all of the solids of the drippings. And a little bit of white wine and a bunch of salt and pepper. And I let that cook overnight. And a good deal of the day yesterday, honestly. It is easier to make the soup if you have had time to cool the broth if you're going to make your own. because then you can skim the fat off and use it to cook up the vegetables like I did. But if you don't have time for that, it doesn't matter that much. And the difference between this stock that I made myself and stock that you can buy in the grocery store is I find that it's got that really sticky, rich, thick mouthfeel that you get from having extra gelatin when you make your own stock. But like I said, if you don't have time for that, just go ahead and buy some stock. It's not a big deal. The soup is going to be delicious either way. All right, so at this point, I am going to add a bunch of parsley. I like a lot of parsley in my soup. It also has a lot of vitamin C in it, so if you are freezing this for when you have sick days at all, which, by the way, highly recommend that one as well, then you've got that added benefit of the vitamin C from all that parsley going throughout your soup. All right, that's all stirred up. Now I am going to get the lid, because I forgot to do that like a doofus. Put this on here, and I'm going to bring this up to a simmer and let it simmer for probably about an hour, maybe more if that's what I've got time for. I will see you all back here when I feel like it's time to put the noodles in. All right, so I have had that soup simmering for a while. The broth has definitely reduced a little bit. I know that my broth that I make is very, very concentrated, so I am going to go ahead and add a little bit of water now. Just a little bit. Just to get it to nearly back to that level that I had it earlier. Every broth is different, so you're going to want to go by taste. You're going to want it to be a little bit saltier than you think your soup should be, because the pasta that you're going to put in there is going to absorb a lot of that salt. So sometimes when I'm feeling really fancy, I will hand make noodles. I'm not feeling that fancy today. I just made an enormous turkey dinner. And I'm just tired and want to make an easy leftover dinner. So I'm just going to dump in these white egg noodles. I have found out from experience, you don't want to use as many noodles as you think you do. So this is about maybe like a third of a bag. This is a 1 pound bag, and I've got like a third left. This is all I'm going to use for the noodles for my soup. And they cook up much bigger. So I'm just going to dump them in here now. Stir it up. And simmer it for about 10 minutes, maybe 20 at the most, if I really want mushy noodles, which I don't usually. And then I'm going to serve this with some fresh bread that I have, because I stress bake, and some leftover salad from our Thanksgiving dinner. I'll show you what it looks like when we're done. All right, it's been about 10 minutes. Let's look and see. Oh yeah, those noodles look great. And it looks like a good ratio of broth to meat to veggies to noodles. Awesome. So this is going to be an amazing meal with our homemade bread and our leftover salad from Thanksgiving. All right, well, the next thing is Thanksgiving casserole. See you soon. All right, so we just made some turkey noodle soup. Family tradition in our household. And today, it's a few days after Thanksgiving, I am making some Thanksgiving casserole. Now, you can see that I've got a bunch of leftovers here. This is a dish that I made. It was born out of desperation to use up Thanksgiving leftovers. And it's sort of an homage to the two cultures I participate in that hold casseroles sacred. I'm from the Midwest, and I'm a United Methodist. So let me tell you about these ingredients I'm going to use. I've got a bunch of turkey that I've got set aside for this dish. This is some leftover turkey. Really, whatever you got should be fine. I've got gravy. I made gravy, guys, and I didn't screw it up. Well, okay, it's too thick. So I did screw it up a little bit. But this is the best gravy I've ever made. And it's too thick. That just means it's going to be more like the cream of chicken Campbell's soup that people tend to put in casserole recipes, right? I've got some rice stuffing, like brown rice and wild rice and chicken bouillon and sage and cranberries in there. It's what I use to stuff my turkey because one of my nephews can't eat wheat, and so it just makes it so he can eat it. Like I said, I'm a Methodist. I make sure people can be fed, okay? If you don't have that kind of stuffing and you don't want to put your bread stuffing into a casserole, then you can just make up some rice for this. If you want it to really taste like this, add a little sage and chicken bouillon and craisins, and you'll be great. And then we've got my husband's mashed potatoes. They're very creamy and beautiful, and they're delicious, but we just don't eat mashed potatoes this often. So this is also going in our casserole. And I also have my 9x13 with the cover here. And I say with the cover because we've already eaten dinner tonight. But I know I'm tired tonight. I'm going to be tired another night. And this is one of those things that you can just dump a bunch of stuff in a casserole dish and have it be ready for that night that you just can't face making dinner. So when you have those nights, you can just go in your fridge if it's going to be in the next couple of nights and shove it in the oven. If you don't think it's going to be in the next couple of nights, you can always put it in the freezer for up to like 3 months before I would sort of check it and make sure it's still good. All right, so let's get started. How was everybody's Thanksgiving? Mine was pretty good. You know, like we mentioned in our last video, it's definitely wasn't like usual. Definitely wasn't like usual where, 25 people and all the kids running around and making messes and people fighting over leftovers on the way out. And wait, why am I missing this? No, it is a great time, and it's something that we really missed this year. I'm putting some extra craisins in here because I like them. And because they sort of give that Thanksgiving flavor, right? That cranberry flavor. All right, I am actually gonna get a knife and a cutting board and cut up this turkey. There we go. Yeah, so we just had Thanksgiving with Joe and I and our friend who is in our bubble. Oh, goodness, there goes my apple. Great. Ah, well. Thanksgiving's over. It's almost time to decorate for Christmas anyway, right? So it was just Joe and I and our friend and the kids. And we had a lovely dinner. I had a nice long run that day because that's one of those things that's important to me. We didn't do the Burby Derby, but I still got on the treadmill and ran. And then in the evening, we watched Bell Book and Candle, which is a family favorite. Jimmy Stewart and Kim Novak in 1960. It's awfully cute. If you get a chance to watch it. Apparently my husband's alarm went off. Sorry about that, guys. We've seen Bell Book and Candle so many times we can quote it, So. But our friend hadn't seen it at all. So it was nice to be able to introduce that to somebody else. It's not like great cinema or anything, but it is a really cute movie. I am so excited to be almost done eating turkey. You guys still going through the turkey at your houses, or? I don't know, maybe we were the only ones crazy enough to do a turkey with a small party. Maybe you all were smart enough to do a chicken or Cornish hens or just a turkey breast. But my oldest said it's not Thanksgiving if you don't have a turkey, so I made a turkey. Of course, my youngest is now like, so sick of turkey. We had the chicken or the turkey noodle soup, and I'm so sick of turkey. It's like, kiddo, we got so much turkey coming. Be prepared. There is more turkey coming. All right. Well, the rest is, oh, no, I got a few more pieces. Let's just chop these a little bit here and there. All right. The rest of this looks like cartilage and skin. So I'm just going to put that aside to when I can put in the garbage. All right. Now, I'm going to use this gravy. So something that I sometimes do with this casserole, but I don't always do, is sometimes I will get a bag of frozen mixed veggies to put in with this. Just depends on how I'm feeling that day. All right, using up all my gravy. Mix it all in. Suppose I could do this in like a separate bowl, but it's been a lot of dishes lately, and my husband does the dishes, so I'm trying to be kind and think of him and his time. One fewer dish for him to clean. Seems like something that I could do for him after making all those dishes to make Thanksgiving dinner. It was a lot of dishes. To be fair, he made the pastry for the pie crust, and he made the mashed potatoes, and he did a lot of like the grocery shopping planning and things like that. So in a way you could say that he's just as responsible for those dishes as I am. Okay, I just got this like little pocket of rice that doesn't want to mix in with the gravy, but I think I got it. So now I'm going to smooth it all out. Try and get it somewhat even. Doesn't have to be perfect. Alright, now here come the mashed potatoes. And I'm just doing this sort of like a shepherd's pie, where the mashed potatoes are on top and you've got like a meat and gravy and stuff on the bottom. And I did have to warm up my gravy and my mashed potatoes in order to get them to be of a nice consistency to mix the gravy in and to spread the potatoes. So if you're doing this right after you are done with your meal and they're still hot, then you won't have to do that. I'm gonna give it some fork marks to make it pretty. All right. Okay. That is literally it. I just put some mashed potatoes on top of the rice stuffing that I told you about, which is brown rice with a little wild rice and chicken bouillon and sage and some craisins. I mixed in some extra craisins for this and some turkey with the gravy on the bottom. That's all you gotta do. It's super simple, and it's different enough from like the whole roast turkey formal dinner that I can usually get away with serving it as an entirely different meal. Now I'm gonna put this in my fridge right now. When I am ready to bake it up, I will put it in the oven for about half an hour to 45 minutes at 350. You're gonna wanna watch the potato tops. As soon as they are starting to brown, you're gonna wanna pull that out and let it cool before you serve it. All right, now on to the turkey curry. Hope you enjoy that one. All right, so this last one is the simplest of all three. We've done the turkey noodle soup, we've done the Thanksgiving casserole, and now tonight I'm making turkey curry. Because this is a simple, healthy meal that I can just throw a bunch of things together and have it on the table, and my kids will gobble it up. I am exhausted. I am so sick of turkey. I am in my comfy yoga pants, and I'm gonna make some turkey curry. Let's get started. So what we're gonna need is we've got some white meat turkey. You could use dark meat, whatever you've got is just fine. When we don't have turkey, we usually just use some pre-cooked chicken for this. I've got the tikka masala simmer sauce from Aldi. It's my favorite. It's my kids' favorite. Super inexpensive. You know. Sometimes you just need to throw together a healthy meal that, you know, everybody's gonna eat. And then I've got a bag of pepper stir-fry mix veggies. Whatever vegetables you know your family's gonna eat. I'm gonna grab one of my knives, just open this up. I am going to dump that whole thing in. I'm going to start the heat right away. I am also going to dump in a whole jar of sauce. I'm going to add some water to this. And I'm going to add that water in. And then I'm going to add some extra soy sauce. I always find that these are a little too sweet and not quite salty enough for my liking. You might find otherwise. As you can see, I put a good amount of soy sauce in there. All right. Just gonna stir this up a little bit. All right. I am going to dump all my turkey in at the same time. We are just going to heat this until it simmers just a little bit. I want the vegetables to still have a little bit of crisp texture to them, so I'm not going to heat them up too much. Again, if you like your vegetables to be like really, really cooked, go ahead and cook it longer. It's not going to hurt anything. I will be back once I think this is done. All right, you can see that this is starting to simmer a little bit, I hope. And yeah, it's definitely getting like small little bubbles. The vegetables are all melted. They are no longer frozen. The turkey's warmed up. The sauce is warmed up. Now, could you make your own curry sauce? Of course you could. I've done it myself. And you can find lots and lots of authentic Indian recipes with other Indian cooks. I'm not the person to come to for a recipe for that. But it's so much easier when you're tired from like big family gatherings just to throw a jar of stuff in the pot. So that's what I'm doing tonight. That's it. That's the curry. And so I then will put this over white rice usually. And then the kids will eat it up. Seriously, my kids eat this up. So there you have it. 3 meals that are simple to throw together right after a lot of work on a big turkey dinner. Obviously, turkey noodle soup, Thanksgiving casserole, and turkey curry aren't the limit of what you can do with leftover turkey. I've definitely made turkey salad sandwiches, turkey tetrazzini. Your imagination is the only thing that limits what you can do with those leftovers. But I hope these were some nice ideas that you hadn't thought of before. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me in my kitchen today. I hope you come back soon. Bye!